Hello everyone, and welcome to my srb2 kart drifting tutorial. So this is going to go over the basics of what each type of drift is used for, and when you should and shouldn't drift. So without further ado, we'll get started by talking about characters. So you've got, let me just switch to a basic color. It's kind of simple. Alright. Easy on the eyes. So we've got Sonic, and Sonic is generally max speed, very lightweight. So with drifting a Sonic, it's gonna take, hold on, let me turn off the ghosts real quick. So when you're playing with Sonic, it's gonna take a lot more effort to get around a corner than it would with, say, Tails. So, checking the wheel. I can do a complete circle, but it's much harder to do so. So, Sonic moves fastest typically when he's just going in a straight line. So you want to drift generally as minimally as possible. So drifting only when you have to tends to work well. Try not to drift unnecessarily. Only really use it as a tool for getting around corners. And you should be fine. Anyway, on to Tails. Tails is a very high handling character, so you're going to be able to get out a drift much faster than Sonic can. And you're also going to be able to charge your drifts faster, which is something that you're going to want to do. So I can maintain a red drift all the way around there and get lots of extra speed. So Tails, you want to try and get drifts as and when you can, and trying to keep blue drifts are generally helpful, but you get red drifts much faster than other characters, so use that to your advantage and drift to keep yourself from going off the course. On to Knuckles. Knuckles is quite a middle of the road character, not too fast, but also quite average in his boosting speed, so think of Knuckles as a middle ground between everything. If you're not quite sure who you want to play, or you are more used to Mario Kart levels of drifting, Knuckles is probably a good place to start for you. He'll feel the most comfortable character to settle in as, I suppose. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. You will probably never beat out a player who is better at Metal Sonic, Sonic, Tails, or Eggman, who is just better than you at the game. But you can still place highly, provided that you can drive consistently and use your drifts properly to get yourselves around the corner. with Knuckles, you're gonna really only want blue drifts just to keep your speed maintained as you're going around the track. You want to keep a constant speed of around 60 to 70. That's the kind of speed you want to keep. Roughly in between. And just make sure you can maintain that through the whole track. And you pretty much are good to go with Knuckles. It's not really too difficult to play as him. You just have to make sure that you drift appropriately. Eggman is the heaviest character in the game, which means that he gets drifts much faster than everyone else, but he also moves incredibly slow when not drifting. So you want to keep getting as many drifts as possible. Keep yourself going purely on drifts. You want to be drifting as often as possible, trying to get as many red and blue boosts as you can. Eggman can also stop on a dime much easier than other characters can, also while still drifting, and he can switch from drifting one direction to another incredibly quickly. So use that to your advantage. Take sharp turns that other characters would normally struggle with as quickly as possible with Eggman, because those will be your chances to catch up. Using blue boosts to quickly move around corners and taking advantage of hairpin turns like ones on Daytona Speedway, Sub-Zero Park, to get that solid 2 seconds of boost where you move so much faster than other racers. Use that to pull ahead, and you can win a couple races. Onto Metal Sonic. He has the same speed as Sonic with the same weight as Eggman, meaning that you want to brake when you go around sharp turns so you don't fly off the track, but you can also afford to hold the hold in the direction you're trying to turn, much like Eggman, without having to worry about holding like left or right or in the opposite direction of wherever you're trying to go to stay on the track, because Metal doesn't really have much of a problem with staying on course. You just have to keep your high speeds and drift like Sonic as minimally as possible. As possible. Because you are the same speed as Sonic, you're just slightly heavier. I'd probably recommend that if you are just learning how to drift in a srb2 kart, you want to pick either a heavy character and learn that, or you want to pick a lightweight character and learn that. I'm not going to be going over bonus characters, like the ones featured in DLC packs. Not DLC per se, just the bonuschars or any modded characters, but you can take what I say for heavy characters, mediums, lightweights into consideration, depending on the character stats, which you can find in the multiplayer menu. If you look at player setup, the dot represents the character, so Sonic is in the top right, Tails top left, Knuckles in the middle, Eggman bottom left, Metal Sonic bottom right. And it doesn't necessarily mean the character is bad if it's lower, it just means the character has a different skill set. And generally you'll find a character that you like the playing style of, and you'll usually stick to that. I will be playing as Tails for the rest of this tutorial, just for the purpose of showcasing everything I want to showcase. And we will be going to Hilltop Zone. Because there is a lot of different drifts that you can do here. So, drifting, if you have... So you've just picked your character that you want to learn, and now you're going to learn how to drift. So, if you pay attention to the wheel in the bottom right of the screen, that shows which arrow key I'm holding, which directional side I'm pressing on my stick if you're using a controller. Left, right. Whichever direction you initiate a drift in, if you hold that direction during the drift, you will gain boost much faster than if you're holding the other direction. So if I, say, hold this for a bit, it takes slightly longer for the drift to charge up. So what you want to do is, if you're coming around a corner really tightly, and you don't think you're quite gonna stop yourself from going into the dirt, you want to hold the opposite direction so you can get around it, which I'm going to showcase here. So you want to make sure you can stay on the course without going off, without veering off to the side. And you see right there how I almost went into the grass and I had a bonk? What you can do to stop that is you want to brake when you're drifting. If you're coming into a turn at fairly high speeds, chances are you're probably going to hit a wall. So what you want to do is, when you get to a rough turn, you can press the brake key, whichever you have brake bound to, and it'll help you stop and turn much faster than you could normally, which will help you get around tight corners on tracks like Eggman's Nightclub and Cloud Cradle, which incorporate lots of sharp turns. So brake to make sure I can get around without hitting the wall. Simples. You want to use your blue. So now I'm going over what you want to use each type of drift for. Blue drifts are there for course correction and making sure you can get around a corner. So Toxic Palace Zone is what I'll use to show this off, because Toxic Palace Zone has a good setup for it. Lots of tight drifts that you need to do in this course. Actually, no, wait. Vanilla Hotel will be much better. Alright. So, immediately, I'm going to walk you through what I do during this race. Drift right. Drift left. I'm going to try and get a bigger red boost around here, so I can speed up. Brake, so I don't hit the wall. And drift to make sure. Brake, so I don't go slamming into the wall. Brake again, so I can get around the corner. And drift, try and get a red boost. And drift for a blue boost, just to get myself around the corner. Then I'm gonna start drifting. Brake. I didn't brake fast enough there. Drift, brake, take the pad, keep drifting, drift. So it's not impossibly difficult. You just have to acknowledge where a sharp turn is and brake accordingly. Now, going on to a course like Daytona Speedway, if I can find it. There it is. Alright. So, Daytona Speedway. It's a very good track to practice drifting, because there's lots of sharp turns, like this one, where characters like Eggman can build up a rainbow boost, because of just how fast they build their boosts. The small blue boosts, this is off memory by the way, so don't quote me on this, but the small blue boost lasts for 0.5 seconds, So not very long, they're just used for getting you around corners and course correcting you if you go over slightly. Red boosts last for about a second. Those are useful for speed and actually getting somewhere. And then you want to use rainbow boosts, like I said, coming up very sparingly. They won't show up often, but when they do show up, they're a great opportunity. God, if I can actually hit this. I haven't played much Eggman, so I'm not very good at him. Yeah, like I said, braking can make it easier to get higher drift combos, because it basically gives you extra distance while you're already holding one direction. Just be careful that you don't brake too much, because you'll waste a lot of time. Rainbow boosts last for 2 full seconds, and you can get a lot of distance on other races with a rainbow boost. So, for sake of example, I'm gonna turn on the staff ghosts, and we're gonna see how we do. By my shoddy driving. So as you can see, just by drifting appropriately, even though I have the character with the slowest max speed, I'm already in 2nd place. Which isn't hard to do. You can also do this, provided that you just practice, 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 and practice. Even though that's the highest speed character in the game, Sonic is still leagues behind me, just because I know how to drift. So, in short, drift where appropriate, brake where appropriate, and you should have fun blazing people on the racetrack. Tips for these kind of turns when you're being chased by an SPB, you generally want to chain together these small blue boosts just so you can stay ahead. Try not to take risks when you're being followed by an SPB, because that can just lead to you losing time, and you lose roughly 5 seconds when hit by an SPB, which is an insane amount of time to be stunned for. It'll take you around that long to get back up to your max speed, so it's important that you take turns like that very carefully. But we got 2nd place with what's supposed to be the slowest character in the game. And with that, I'll leave it there. If you got any questions, just ask in the comments. Any suggestions for new srb2 kart content that you want to see? Speedruns of levels, I can put that out. All you gotta do is ask. Any questions about drifting that you have further, I can compile into another video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.